Okay, are we
Yeah, we're good.
live?
Yes.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the July 27th meeting of the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Phillips, Budget and Finance Officer. I've spoken to each of you, and John, I sent you an email, so I hope you got it. But with the changes or approval of the Health Department reorganization on Thursday, I haven't had a chance to completely work through all of the numbers. So I would ask at this point that you guys would table or remove the budget work session at 10:55. Unless you guys had anything pressing that you wanted to talk about today.
I'd like to see that. Want to see all
Yeah.
the corrected numbers. No
Yes.
point in messing with it right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The budget work session.
I'll second.
Is
And I
there
did
moved-
get your email, Brittany.
Okay.
is there moved and seconded to remove the budget and work session for today? All in favor?
Aye.
Any other public comment?
No, I just.
Oh, okay, then we'll have commission comments. John, do you have any?
Yeah, I do. I'm sorry I'm not there in person this morning. We just woke up and we're not feeling good. And I think it's a good idea to stay out of the heat today too. Going back to Thursday, post our meeting, I met with Riley County Treasurer Shiloh Hager, discussed some ongoing efforts in her department, discussed some ideas for future budgets, and also discussed the new motor vehicle fee structure, just to name a few things. Certainly appreciated the dialogue, and the conversation surely sparked some thoughts and ideas. Friday morning, I was up at Stormont Vale for an echocardiogram. Process took about an hour. The results were pretty good for the most part. I will need to follow up with a cardiologist to go through it in a little bit more depth at some point in time here in the near future. Friday morning, late morning, I met with Elizabeth Ward, our Riley County Human Resources Director, to go through the things, discuss some thoughts and ideas and other various items in regards to personnel, the personnel budget, and personnel budgets moving forward. Lots of moving pieces, but thought we had a pretty good dialogue, to say the least. Friday afternoon, I traveled over to Alma, and I had lunch with Wabaunsee County Sheriff Eric Kirsch. Had a great conversation and dialogue on the nuances of being a public official and several other things, including law enforcement in general, dealings with the press and media sometimes, and just some longer term plans that each one of us have. Really enjoyed the conversation. Lunch from El Corral, which is the Mexican restaurant there in downtown Alma, was absolutely amazing. And Wabaunsee County was having their fair at the same time as we were too, just to add that one in. Spent much of the weekend at home, not really wanting to deal with the excess of heat, and there wasn't really much going on, to say the least bit. Although yesterday afternoon, I did make it over to the Riley County Fair to once again judge the baking competition. This year's competition was apple pie, of course, in honor of the America 250 celebration. I, along with Tiffany Opelt from Therapy, did the judging. We had 9 entries in which to choose from. Every single entry was delicious and amazing. There was several that standed out from the other ones just in terms of both taste and presentation, but want to give a shout out to everybody who came out for the event and for those who also entered the competition. It was fun once again. So with that, that's about all I've got this morning.
What does it say the morning after he ate the pie that he's?
Yeah. Too much
I was gonna try
time,
to bring
John.
some apple pie in, but of course I'm not there in person and
Oh,
for some
yeah,
reason
okay.
everybody was in the mood for apple pie and it was gone.
Okay, Commissioner McKinley.
I didn't really have anything other than staying inside, trying to keep cool. Didn't even make it to the fair. It was too hot. Finally on Thursday, then something else came up, couldn't go, and then the temperatures went, yeah, I don't. Although, did you see, we talked about the Muncie County, Clay County Sheriff put out something on Facebook yesterday morning saying, because of the heat, we're canceling all criminal activity.
I hope they were successful.
Yeah, yeah. He said, please postpone it until Tuesday when it cools down.
Good idea.
Yeah,
That is a right. Maybe we can Brian Pete to do that.
yeah.
Okay, well, Thursday after our commission meeting, Amanda Webb, John Ellerman, Vanessa Gray, Brian Foster, and I met to discuss a ribbon cutting for the Keats wastewater project. We discussed the best location for the ribbon cutting and the contractor's request for a staging area in the park, which we didn't approve as it would take too much space from the usable park area for residents. Contractor would be advised to find a location in the area and work it out with an individual property owner. Vanessa is going to be working on a flyer to hand out to residents and at the community meal this Thursday or Wednesday night. There's a community meal out there, so I'm going to take some out. Friday, I came down to the office to do some work, go to vote, and had a quick meeting with Vanessa on the flyer. I also had a PT appointment and stopped by the fair very briefly. So I didn't get back after that. It was just too hot. Weekend was fairly quiet. I had a lot of catching up to do from my trip to Virginia. That's all I have.
What did you send a date from Keats?
The 10th, August 10th
Okay.
at 6:00 p.m. It'll be a little cooler,
August 10th.
maybe. Oh, it's in the
I-
evening.
was gonna say, I have it on the 13th.
cooler.
I have it on the 13th. Does that sound right? It may be the 13th. It's 13th.
Yes.
Is it the
it's the
13th?
13th.
Oh, okay, messed up, sorry. I looked at my calendar when I wrote these things.
We have one set for the fire department. Yeah,
It was
Yeah,
second finishing touches, so I think
no,
actually mid-August.
I don't know why I put the 10th.
Ready for business, Commissioner?
Yeah,
First item we have CIP amendment for the playground equipment at Seco Park.
okay, any discussion?
yeah. Because I thought, because basically we had not sort of designated amount that we're kind of, that we're putting aside each year, it's more into the playground. To keep it there, we were spending some of it this year, but not deleting the whole thing. This seems to be deleting the whole amount. That wasn't my intention. I don't know what the other two's intention was.
So I talked to Greg this morning and I said, my understanding from when we talked about the CIP projects was that you guys wanted to remove this. And I believe John said it was, John Ellerman said he was fine to release all of those funds. And that we were going to use that as part of, the transfer money that we put back to county general. And so I understood the commissioners to want to cancel everything except for the piece of equipment that we needed to buy. So if I want to hear from the other two commissioners to see what they understood, so we know what we're doing here.
Yeah, that's where I was at. We're not even close to kind of figuring out where we're at with Seco Park, just in general at this point in time. And I think just the budgetary issues that we face with right now, this kind of takes a priority over playground. That's just my opinion.
That didn't affect the budget. Affects CIP, but it doesn't affect the budget.
What do the minutes reflect, Rich?
What was that?
Do the minutes reflect anything about that?
Got me, I haven't had time to
I
look
know.
at it.
You can always take a look.
Yeah, I don't
remember what day we had that.
I don't want to deplete it all, but
And it doesn't affect budget, Greg's correct, but what it does allow is money available for other projects that may be of higher priority, especially with taking 5.15 million out of there this year.
mhm.
And if we need to take, if something comes up, it needs to come out of it later, but that's my understanding was. We're still keeping that in that, it's not an official reserve fund, but some designated spot.
I think it was the July 1st meeting. I don't have because that's when we presented all of the recommendations from budget and planning. So I can definitely go look at the minutes and we can table this again, or however the board wants to proceed.
Well, I hear what John Element thought.
Okay, and he's gone the next 2 weeks, this week and next
so
week.
he's in Alaska. or something,
Yeah.
taking-
So we can take it off until he gets back and I can review the minutes.
Schedule it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I don't recall what I said.
yeah, it's been a few weeks for sure. Yeah, I will take that off the agenda for now. Thank you.
Okay.
Part of being old, I guess.
Okay, I found the minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it states, the board agreed by consensus to cancel the Fairmount Park storage building and to remove all funding except for 35,000 for the playground equipment project.
Well, I misunderstood. That isn't what my thoughts were, but.
Yeah, you guys are free to modify.
I'd like to
so.
hear what John Element thinks on it.
Okay,
There's no hurry on it.
yeah, we've got time to do that, don't we?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Because Greg, you're right, it doesn't impact this year's overall budget for sure.
Okay,
So yeah, there's no hurry.
okay, yeah, let's table it till John gets back.
Next commissioners, we're then moving on. Next we have, need a motion on Riley County Employee Action Form for Catherine Jones, status change from non-exempt to exempt, interim WIC coordinator. Josh Gearing for status change, title change, as Division Chief EMS Ambulance Department. Alex Protzman for status change, Deputy Chief E EMS.
I had a question, I think, the initial question was why were you in those two and not the two fire department, but it looks like we haven't approved their new jobs. But once I got to, that was my questions I was going through. I got to the end, I'm like, oh, that's why. Yeah, all right.
All right,
I'd move to approve the county employee action forms.
okay, I would second that. This moved and seconded to approve the Raleigh County Employee Action Forms. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Rich, you can just leave those in my box if I need to sign those.
Yeah, I'm sure Cindy will get them to you.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioners, any changes to the minutes?
No. I didn't
I'd move to approve the minutes of the July 23rd meeting as presented.
I'll second.
either. So moved and seconded to approve the July 23rd minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Have tentative agendas with commissioners.
Question on Thursdays. Got an hour and a half for you you about ballots. Reservation of ballots and election records. Got an hour and a half.
Don't need an hour and a half. for sure.
Okay,
There's probably just that nobody else has reserved any time. So usually Cindy would put a break, but I bet that's probably what that is.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
so you
No
keep
way.
yours till the end unless.
no way in heck do I wanna talk.
I, that's what I didn't, it's something I think we.
Yeah,
you-
yeah, we will,
Not gonna be here.
absolutely, yeah.
Take it out of the
It'll
hand.
take 5, 10, I think I remember I said it'll take 5 or 10 minutes. I remember sending that. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
No,
that's just a placeholder.
yeah.
Yeah, I wondered what was going on.
No way am I talking for that long.
Yeah.
Well, we could probably find something to talk.
Any item for next week's press conference?
No.
Next, you will have Amanda Webb at 9 o'clock. Thank you. Yeah, I'd be concerned with having to speak that long too.
What do they do in Congress? They read all sorts of stuff.
Morning, Elizabeth. Morning. Good, how are you? Morning, Rob, how you doing?
Good, Rich, how are you?
Good.
So, survived your little field trip? So, speak up.
Yeah, glad it's over. Yeah, that's for sure. Glad it is over. A judge, one person giving testimony in a room full of about 20 attorneys.
Nobody else?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Everyone was dressed in nice suits.
Did you stay too much longer at the fair?
I think I stayed till 9, but I'll tear down, so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but. It was, I went out for a little bit yesterday. And Saturday was a little bit, it was like almost balmy compared to, it's just awful.
Oh, yeah. Were there a lot of people out yesterday?
I didn't go to the fair,
Oh.
I just was out and about,
Oh.
I was like, yeah, I didn't swear off the fair, I don't know, you didn't go to.
No. That was Sunday. I had a really bad migraine. And actually like blacked out from how bad my pain was for my migraine. I just like was not doing anything. Yeah. But we're trying to sell our house and I was like, please, nobody try to see our house today because I can't move. I'm not going outside.
That's what, we went down to the mall yesterday afternoon. And it was packed. I don't know if everybody found a cool place or something, because there was a lot, there's more people than
One
I've
thing you
seen
can
in
get out and
years.
do, and the air conditioning, and that's pretty
Yeah,
common.
there was something going on. It's a group of about 20 people. They were down one hallway and they weren't all together. I mean, they all had their phones out working on something.
Hmm.
And then a little bit later saw them and they were out around the sprinkler out there and they were all working on their phones. I don't know. Some kind of a game. And the security guy was there. I didn't know if there was some kind of a game or a scavenger hunt or something going on.
Oh.
I asked the security guard what was going on. He goes, I don't know. They're not causing trouble.
Yeah.
Like even despite that, there was still just people all over that place. I haven't seen it. I mean,
Yeah, nice.
Oh, yeah.
yes, it was a cool place to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh. Oh, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Please lose your PCP. Yeah. Oh, we're at, oh, yeah, we're at some grade. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah. Thursday was the fair and I wore a sweatshirt, so it's towards the end, because it was like 65 by the end of the night when it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was the first time I've ever done that.
It was pretty cool, like on Wednesday in St. Louis, my cousin and I were like, we're gonna get like a little chilly, and then of course we started dancing in that.
Yeah.
But
This morning already.
All right.
My height was rather hot.
I went out yesterday evening just to grill, we're just standing
Mhm.
there in the sun, where it's just, I mean, the sun, you can just feel it.
That's lucky.
Pounding on you.
Yeah, over at my son's house and he got to run the grill, so I got to stay
Oh,
inside.
yeah. I didn't have to stand there.
I brought the steak he grilled, so
Over the grill while it's, the sun is pounding on.
as I said, just put them out there, they'll cook.
Yeah, that's what I told Jen. I thought about just laying them on the top,
Mhm.
laying them on the grill and probably.
That's
Yeah.
part of what I do.
Yeah.
But, then I went out later,
Yeah.
something evening, the sun was down just for, once the sun
This
got
week.
kind of creeped.
Makes a
The
huge difference.
temperature wasn't the same, but the sun.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
The sun on you, it makes a huge difference.
I don't think the temperature probably is any different, just not having
Well,
the
but
sun
we-
count. Cause I had run out for something for a little bit. Yeah, this is
pretty open, I
it's not
think, so.
bad. I mean, it wasn't good, but at least it wasn't.
It's
Sun pounding on
significant
it.
difference when you're not in the direct sunlight for sure.
Yeah, so let's shoot for Wednesday, because tonight, my daughter and some of her friends are going to the game in Wichita. And then they're coming back and crashing in our house instead of at Lawrence in Kansas City. And so we're gonna be manning the breakfast grill in the morning for all the college kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Wednesday.
What time's breakfast?
yeah,
Then dude. I still have to put together my, normally when I cook, bacon and the eggs and stuff like that, I do it out on the deck, so it doesn't smoke up the house.
So,
No, I use a regular kitchen griddle,
Uh-huh.
but this year for my birthday, the rest of the family bought me an extra
okay.
outside griddle.
Well.
Let's put together today.
That's okay.
Preparation for breakfast tomorrow.
It's okay, Brittany, we can make it there. I know it's gonna be
But,
I'll keep an eye on it. I'll let you know when it's served.
well, we wanted to wait because we got it, and then we took off July 4th
Oh, yeah.
vacation. And I didn't have a cover, and I didn't want to put it together without
Yeah.
Amazon to cover.
There you go.
So, one of the main focuses of today is putting grill. We have a bunch of college kids slumber party in basements now after the game. And my daughter was like, "We want me to touch it?" No, I'm not driving to Wichita.
Oh, for
My days of driving to Wichita at 8 o'clock at night to do, and then being able to do anything the next morning.
They have these World Series, is that what they're going to?
The TPT,
Oh, the TBT,
the alumni games.
the ones for, KU?
Yep, for
Okay.
KU. Our daughter goes to KU, so
Oh, okay, that's fine.
we've had, we're a house divided because we bleed purple, but all our money goes to KU. So, yeah, we'll see.
What place do I go to?
Either Redeemer's on the middle, Redeemer's Bakehouse.
Okay, you don't want to me, so.
But if you want to know.
Okay, I'll do that. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
I'll see you then. Yeah.
That'll work. Thanks.
All right, cool, yeah.
Yeah, right after the game Friday, of course, all the teams leave and then all the kids want to wait to get pictures with the player, because they do a quick huddle and then all the players come back out for the fans. And at the same time, my daughter's trying to get on her phone to get tickets for the Wichita.
The next game.
The next game. Still weren't bad,
That was a
it
low
like
scoring
14
game.
bucks.
That was a low scoring game.
I said the same, as they were going.
I think
into
the old guys got
halftime,
tired,
it was
evidently.
Yeah. It's only like 30 apiece or something going into halftime. And, game before that was in
61 to 55 or something, I heard.
Yeah, 61 was the Lynn score.
Both of those last games, Cape State, they just didn't know how to finish.
Yeah, I know. Both they had big lead,
Yeah, they had a strong start. Like it started, like he got right up to like 10-0 or something. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, this game looked like the first game.
They were ahead both times in those Elam and, the Elam.
Yeah.
They were ahead both times.
And
And,
I think, they needed a different guard.
Mhm.
They needed a different point guard. He wasn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who was the point guard?
I think as the money gets bigger, every year the money gets bigger.
No,
So you're seeing more and more talent. Like,
it wasn't one of it. It wasn't, it's one of the outside.
what else is popular?
But he was, they were talking about, he was a friend of me, so he got there and he did.
oh, yeah.
Oh, right, at the end of the game, he couldn't
Another do it, but no.
So we need to pull one, huh?
Yeah, we need to pull one. Or Barry Brown or.
Yeah, that'd
There's
been
several
good.
of them that could have been,
Better choices.
but Poland had emails out or Facebook, basically,
Yeah.
they spent too much on Beasley and didn't have enough to buy him.
Oh.
Seemed to be reading between the lines what he was saying.
I can see that. I could see that.
Yeah, I guess that's true. We're doing, got it. Are we doing it for free? I guess?
Yeah, because I'm non-pro.
So I don't, they talk about the 2 million for the winter. Do they pay? They must have money for the other games too or something.
Who gets what share or?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Then there's always, it's neat watching the K-State announcers just use the same K-State stuff, you know, the same catchphrases and everything. They never say Wildcat, but they still, you know, so the same pump up music.
Beasley's the same guy he was.
Yeah.
15 years ago, isn't he? If he was wearing out, he kept going hitting the floor. It's like his legs were giving out.
Yeah, a little I saw he didn't much, but he tried to drive it nice, and you have to see him get up and go, he was slower.
Pretty well, Joey, spearheading all the crap. Stuff, so. She's doing great.
Good. Yeah.
Maybe. Thank you, ma'am.
This is in the packet, it was a little blurry, so.
Okay.
maybe you use it.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah, it's a little- okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director. I'm here to talk again about the Home in the Heartland grant. We talked about this in late June. As you know, they've opened another, the state of, the Treasurer's Office has opened another round of funding for this program. And we talked about applying for it again based on the success of our current program. And you would ask for more information regarding the Economic Development Fund, and thank you to Brittany for providing that, and that's what's in your packet. And again, that's also what I handed out. Those 2 sheets are exactly what's in your packet, just a little easier to see. So just wanted to talk again today about what your thoughts are. Again, in terms of if you want to apply, the application window's open through August 12th. I've been keeping the folks that Make My Move aware and apprised of that. We're kind of still working through some of this. We're not sure yet, how we're going to proceed, but they're ready, with whatever we decide to do. Obviously, if we don't decide to go forward, we won't need to keep their services. We'll just keep working through what we're already doing. So if you have any questions or are looking for any particular information, so just to kind of give you a quick update as it changes every day on our current program, we have 17 movers right now. The majority of them are here in Riley County already. There's a few that are still on their way, but they'll be here in the next few weeks. We have 15 in the offered and accepted phases, meaning they just need to accepted, they just have to move here basically. And offered is they need to do a couple more things and then move here. So we have plenty of folks for those 3 last spaces, because if you remember, our current program is 20 movers. So we're just about there. I can't imagine that we wouldn't get there within the month, honestly. We have so many in the queue. And then we have, like, I believe when I checked this morning, it was about 500 in the initial pipeline, which they basically, done their basic application. On paper they look good, but there's a lot more to do. So some of those have been in that pipeline for months, and they're probably applying to various programs and whatnot. So again, just wanted to give you a little bit of background about what the current program is doing. It's going along just fine. And again, just want to talk about anything you want to know about the money part for this. If you remember, we can do partial in kind. So we are able to do that. And Allison and I have kind of crunched our numbers, and based on, of course, we'd have to scale it based on how many movers. If we only want to do 10 movers, she and I would bring that number down. If we want to do 25 movers, that number would go up. So we do have that as an option to bring down your cash cost, if that makes sense. So all stuff for us to talk about, depending on what you're thinking.
So what was the funding on the existing one? It
So,
says 250,000. Is that for, how many is that?
so our existing program is about 230,000, and we got about $187,000 grant from the state. And all of that money we have all of that money that has been dispersed by the state. So our portion was about 41,000, with 15,000 of that was in kind. Now and that's again what we did currently. Talking to Allison, crunching numbers, we probably could have done a higher in kind for this round because there was so much work, mostly but we put together up front to get it built. But that's what we did. So
That's why it seems a lot of that income was just getting started. It won't be. Hopefully
yeah, there's still a lot
there's
to
still
it.
work to be done, but it's
Yeah,
the startup had to be
right. It was a lot more intensive, when we were starting. So we are in a good position to just keep going again, if that's what we choose to do. Talking to Ben from Make My Move last week, what he said, if we're not ready to go forward, if we want to wait, they'll keep us active. So they're not going to just delete everything, because obviously we put a lot of work into putting it together, and we don't want to lose that momentum. But what it would turn into is a wait list. Basically, it wouldn't be an application process per se, but it would still be active. People could still look at it, see what Riley County is all about, put their basic information in to kind of hang out and see if we want to proceed. So there's all kinds of directions we can go with this. If you're still thinking that you'd like to, but maybe we're not ready now, sort of thing. And the other piece to remember, I know last time we talked about if we did like, for example, 100,000, that would be 10 movers. We do need to take into account that we have to pay, Make My Move as part of that. We do have to pay and extend our contract with them, so.
So that's on top of the 20%, man.
I mean, that could be all part of it. So the 20% match is what we determine to be our total cost. And again, what we did this time, the 230,000, again, that's roughly what we did this time, included our contract with Make My Move. And then of course, all the money that we are giving, the incentive that we're giving to folks, that included everything. So however much we want to spend, or however much we want to apply for, I should say, with the state, that's would be all in. That would be our contract with Make My Move. That would be the cash incentive with folks, and all of that.
All that's covered.
So, yeah. Yep. So really, it's kind of dependent on how much, if any, right now you'd want to spend.
250 about for another 20.
250,000 would be, I believe, for 25. I believe that's what it, yes. Yeah. Because the max we can request from the state is 250,000.
And that's for the second round, Amanda, is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. But somehow I was landing on the idea that we were somewhere around 50 grand for this.
Right, so let's say we have 20 movers. Y'all are gonna watch me do math in my head. We have 20 movers, again, only about 17 right now. Have we expended the first half? Of course, we give the 2,500 when they get here, when they either secure their job in the county, or they bring their remote job with them. They show their household income of the 55,000, and they show us that I've either purchased a home or I have a lease. Then they get their initial $2,500. Once the year passes and they give us the documentation that they have maintained that $55,000 household income and they've been here for the year, we will release the second half of the 2,500. So we have spent 42,500 on the first cash incentive so far for 17 movers. Now, not all of them have been dispersed that money just yet, if that makes sense, but it's all in the queue. They're just needing to get here, but they're approved, they're coming, they've given us everything they need. We won't give them their money until after their lease date starts. So I've had folks, I'm gonna move in the middle of August, which is perfectly fine. So they're on the list of approved, but we can't give them their money. We won't issue until they're actually here. Yep. Yeah. So it'll be 100,000 total, assuming all 20 movers remain here for the year. It'll be 100,000 total after that year mark for everybody.
Well, I would like to continue moving forward, if not full capacity, somewhat, just to keep the momentum going, because I think it's important to get. And I think as a community, we've decided that increasing population's a large part of what we need to do moving forward. I also know that there is some conversation extending to some other businesses in the community to get involved in that, including Kansas State. I know those are slow going conversations, but they do exist. So that could lessen the number of impact for us overall as we move through this. Looking at the 2027 requests, if we were to do 50,000 at this point in time, we're really only increasing our total economic development budget by about 13 grand and some change. So it's not a huge move just to keep going with where we're at, and considering how many people that we have in waiting and or application. I think that would be a good move for us moving forward.
Yeah, are any of these people moving into the rural areas of the county, or are they all moving into the Manhattan?
So the folks who have moved here, everybody is in Manhattan. There's one in, that's the 17 who have moved here or on their way.
Yeah.
So,
If I may ask, and maybe you don't have these numbers, but how many of them have brought kids into the school district?
I do have these numbers. Let's see. Of the
Or one of the three school
17,
districts?
of the 17 households, again, who have been approved and are either here or on their way, four of those households have children. So we have 5 children spread across those 4 families that are here or about to get here. And then in our offered and extended queue, we have several more families with children.
I just like to point out that the increase in students in our school districts obviously brings money back into the community. I don't know, somewhere around 17,000. So that's why kids may have just basically paid for our total as a whole for Riley County, just being in the school district alone.
My my thoughts are, I don't know if we need to go for 25, go to 15 or 20. You know, with all the other financial squeezes we've got this year.
Yeah, I
What-
think, yeah.
I'm agreeable to that too. I think we got to keep all of our intangibles in line, but I think having at least some general positive movement in this will make it easier when they go. And I believe that's what they're going to do. They're going to go to the legislature this year and basically ask for a full funding program at some level. Of course, that's a discussion away, but already being involved in that process just puts us that much further ahead once, or if that does happen. So I think something would be better than nothing at this point in time.
So are they going to the legislature for the full 100%, not the match, or what are you saying about?
They're going for a whole other set of funding. This was, I think, $2 million, $2.5 million for just this particular program. They're going to extend that program, and they may ask for $3 to $4 million. I'm not really for sure on that, but I know they're going to enlist some more funds next year to keep this program extended in the state of Kansas.
Chances are if we do it this year that we'd be able to do it again next, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Trying to guess what this
Yeah.
legislature does is
Sure,
not a,
yeah, always
not a
difficult.
good bet, but.
But we're showing, I mean, we are
It's
very successful
yeah, they're
program.
very successful.
Yeah.
Should we put some numbers together, maybe a little bit on the lower end, and see where that's at between now and the 12th?
Like the 15,
Do
you
the
mean?
15, yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
because I'm
Sounds
thinking
good.
with that number, that's going to keep us kind of flat or just a little bit under where our economic development funds are for the proposed 2027 budget, I should say.
'Cause I'll need to get from Make My Move, because of course their contract will be based on number of movers as well. So if you folks want information, I'll just do like 10, 15, 20. So
Okay,
if you want that information, I'll see from them what their contract would cost, because again, we're gonna need a total amount that we're gonna apply
yeah,
for with the state, which of
Right.
course then will tell us how much money we need to give, and then we can also talk again about in kind, we can scale that as well. So some of that can definitely be in kind.
yeah, that's got 10, 15, and 20, be a good idea.
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah.
more firm numbers on
Yep.
what that's gonna do.
Do that.
And, I did have a question on this, the one 2027 requests, where does that fall in those requests? It's not listed as
It'd
that
be coming under, it'd be under
economic development,
this one, right? It'd be added to.
like this one. It's not here yet, but it will be
Right.
in this price.
Yes. yeah,
Okay,
so it'd
that's
be
why I
under
was.
the Economic Development Fund, and again, we would need to amend 2026 and then account for it in 27.
Okay, so,
Okay, so some of it would be in this year.
I'm sorry.
So some of this would be in this year's. You might show that, you know. Figure out what the difference is because that means even less impact on next year's.
Right, yeah, because again, when we did this in 25, I believe the majority of the contract we paid Make My Move was 25 funds, is that right?
Correct.
And then, of course, we still had a little bit for this year
Oh, okay.
until we got reimbursed from the state. So that is my assumption for this year, that we would have to pay the Make My Move contract with at least 26 funds.
Yeah.
And then kind of, it's all gonna be based on the movers to know, will there be money that we're actually expending in 27, or is it just all gonna come out of the year? So,
Yeah. Okay,
okay,
that's good. Thank you.
all right, yeah, absolutely. I will bring back some more information.
Amanda, Commissioners, it's time for Liz Hawley. Hi, Liz.
Good morning.
Morning.
Today I'm gonna update kind of on a lot of stuff we've been talking about, but we just had our client summer party. The clients picked the theme Hollywood. So we had red carpet and the whole ordeal. It was a really good time. We've changed DJs, so now there's music dedications, which is a really big part of the party, is all the love dedications that are happening through the whole party, but it was a lot of fun. Recruitment and retention of DSPs. So we took that 6% that we got from a rate increase in Medicaid for HCBS funding, and we applied that towards wages. We raised everyone's wage $1 an hour, bringing our starting wage up from 16 to 17. So we have seen an improvement on applications and new hires as well. So we're hopeful that that's going to really help with our position openings and turnover rate. New admissions, we have some construction projects we're waiting to get started on, a couple group homes. Once we've got that finished, then we're going to make sure that we're serving everybody in our current services where they need to be served before we open admissions again to fill open bedrooms. The wait list, I don't have good news there. That has, it's 137 individuals in our 4-county area waiting for state funding for services. And there's now 5,258 people. So we have crossed over that 5,000 mark, and it's continuing to approach 10 years of waiting for services. So the community support waiver is has been public comment ended, and CMS approved that. What that means for our area, I don't know, because I think that was like 200 to 250 spots that were approved for that waiver this year in legislature funding, but there's a whole list of services that are offered. And from my understanding in our area, there's a couple vendors that would be willing to like 1 or 2 of the services on that list. So it's really still unclear as to what that looks like. But of course, the idea is to get some people who don't need a lot of services off of that 5,000 individual wait list. So we'll see what happens with that. But we, as you know, we completed the Raise the Roof capital fundraising. So we are in the middle of projects. We are looking to change our door to the back patio to be more handicap accessible. That's feedback we got from our clients. And I was like, you're right. I don't know why I didn't even see that, but changing some remodeling some an office into a shower room, changing room and bathroom, and replacing flooring and wallpaper. That went out for bid on the 20th, and we're doing our pre-conference tours later this week. So we're kind of just getting started on that whole project, which is really exciting. Our next fundraising campaign is for the Clay Center Services Project, which is really just raising money for our center and Clay Center and the group home there. So that's about a 3-year campaign to work on improvements there. We did finish our big improvement fundraising campaign, and we have remodeled 1 bathroom and are waiting to finish up a couple things before we can get started on a bathroom for one of our group homes, and remodeling a staff apartment to be 2 bedrooms to serve more clients in that group home, because that is a home built more for total care and has overnight awake staff and things. So we're seeing some clients needing that specific support more than that house is currently able to support. So that'll help with that. We also had our install for technology for starting our new initiative for remote supports a couple weeks ago. So we're hoping to go live with that kind of changing a little bit of our staffing model to be able to use technology to improve independence and choice and increase safety while we're at it as well. So that's kind of our big new initiative that we're hoping to start here in a couple weeks. So do you have any questions for me? No? All right, thank you.
Next one, she had press conference at 9:30. Oh, thank you.
So, at the state, did you have to testify or
No, thankfully I did not, you know.
No, I didn't have the attorney one and an attorney, how that
Yeah.
works.
So I was there more for if there was a question of like privileged information or anything like that, Rich could be like, hey, I need to check with my attorney real quick before I answer any of that. Thankfully, that it was unlikely to happen. It never got to that territory, thankfully. But it was pretty well anticipated on what questions they were going to ask. But it was nice to see there was a certain line of questioning they were going to go down that the opposing counsel there for the Secretary of State was like, there's no reason for us to do this, completely irrelevant. Like, please do not do this. And the court's like, I agree. Yeah, no, we're not doing it. And so the attorney that wanted to ask the questions, he's like, well, you know, can I make a proffer to the court? Which is like, can I try to justify it? And then she's like, you got 1 to 2 sentences. So make it
Trying
work.
to throw everything else in
Yeah.
that didn't apply, but just to
Yeah.
stir it up some more.
Which is funny because this wasn't even a jury trial, it was a bench trial. So there's no jury to try to kind of get a little bit of influence in on it or anything like that. It was all by the judge. So they're not gonna be swayed by that stuff anyways. So I don't think the judge didn't seem pleased
No.
to be there. So I'm curious to see if they did finish during the week or if they're still going. I haven't checked. I would. It seemed like it was moving quicker than they anticipated. So
What's that?
Which way did you see it, Lee, did you think?
it's hard to say right now. I mean, I would, given the fact that the judge didn't seem interested in hearing a lot of their testimony in a certain direction, I think they're going to weigh more in favor in the Secretary of State as opposed to the League of Women Voters. But
What is, they're questioning the mail-in ballot.
yeah,
or something?
the signature verification, whether or not it's arbitrary or if there's any kind of actually objective, or like if you can do it objectively. If it's always up to just one person to determine what either a signature is valid or invalid, it's not a very good requirement. But what they don't understand is that it's a multi-person process and it affects so few people. I mean, just like 2 people in the amount of, you know, and for just the county, right? I think it was just 2 people last general election. So it has no real impact. So I think that's what they're going to argue probably. At least that'll be the part of their closing. There was an army of attorneys there. Good.
Pieces, there's a room full of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Room
just
full of suits.
the amount of money that is being spent on that right now, I wouldn't want to know. It would. Yeah, you want to talk about tax dollars being used. Oof.
Yeah, it's- And it's
Oh,
my commission comments. There.
I'll pick them up. Mm.
That's weird. Yeah. That's colorful.
Yeah, no worries, yeah, just tell us what you're doing. Yeah, that's fine, absolutely.
Front row.
Yeah. That's no. Oh, okay. That's nice, huh?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
A little bit of an update than last.
I'm looking about MT.
Yeah,
Big nuggets in
you make do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
That's the one. They literally did not know. Great competition. Awesome. Come down. Yeah, I'm curious about what you do.
If you want to do them first, I'm going to do that same first.
You mean?
If you want to do them first, I'm a little first.
Oh.
That's fine. Or if you wanna-
Okay. Everyone here, of course. Okay, I'd like to move the presentations for the Rural Recognition Award before the primary election update. But if you all are here, that'd be great.
I'll say a few words and then we'll bring
Okay.
everyone up, okay? So good morning, everyone. My name is Kirk Crabtree. I'm the chair of the Rural Economic Development Advisory Board. And before I get into all of this in the presentation, I just want to thank the staff and especially Molly. A while back when we started thinking about this recognition program, she really grabbed onto it and ran with it. And everything that's awesome about it is because of her. And if there's something wrong with it, it's because we didn't listen to her. Okay, so Molly's done a great job with that. So about a year or so ago, when the county finalized the comprehensive plan, the comprehensive plan, a new chapter in there was about rural economic development. And one of the objectives of that was, of course, how do we spur more rural economic development? And Ron Wilson and a few others said, well, perhaps we could start recognizing the people that are already doing it in our county. So the Ruralpreneur or Rural Entrepreneur Recognition Program was born. Figured out a few parameters, a few rubrics on how we grade it and who can be nominated and who's eligible, et cetera, et cetera. And once you get through all that, it was pretty easy to figure out who our first recipients would be. There's really no contest of what the Larsons have brought to our community and all the great things that they have done for the community. So having said all that, I would like to have Sarah and Andy Larson come on up and be recognized as the inaugural recipients of the Riley County Ruralpreneur Recognition Award. All right. Thank you. Ron, yeah, we're gonna go up for the picture. Y'all are part of the board. Come on up. All right. Tell us what to do. Right there? Okay. I know. Me and Darren look like the city slickers. We're not wearing anything. No, this is real. Oh. I don't know what to do.
You look great.
And then if y'all want to just take a minute or two and talk about y'all's journey and everything about the business. All right, I'll get out of the way. Talk to them.
Yeah, start. So,
You want,
We do that after.
sure, we can do it. But
Oh, sure.
oh, that'd be great. Yeah, let's do it.
okay, I don't know if we get the whole group up there.
John, you gotta turn your camera on if you want to be in the picture.
Oh, hey, John.
There.
Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we are honored to be the recipients of this first award. Our journey began a long time ago. We started off selling little beef as halves and wholes. Decided, you know what, we need to find a way to take this product that we have, that we know is a great product, that we know we've been working on for 146 years. We can actually trace our genetics back, clear back to 6 cows on an 1880 census. Our family first showed up in Riley County. So I am the 7th generation of the ranch in Riley County. We are based out of Randolph. We do have a store down here on Main Street now, here on Points. And through that, we market individual cuts, all different kinds of other products as well that have been branded. And basically, we've just appreciated the opportunity to present the community with a very good, wholesome product that we have a lot of history behind and that we really enjoy growing. So I'll let Sarah talk a little more about it.
Yeah, it was something that Andy had wanted to do for many years. And when we started thinking about it, I come from a branding and marketing background. So we kind of combined forces. I'm like, you're gonna have to take care of those cows. That's not and so we kind of combined our two strengths and built this, and it has been wild to see the reception from the community, because we started out actually in the back alley and Candlewood, where I had my flower shop rentals storage. I'm like, we'll be shipping. This is fine. This is great. We can throw freezers back here. And people they would order online, and I would set pickup times for them. And either me or one of my designer, like floral, we didn't even have any employees, just floral shop designer, like, oh, meet this person at this time. And so then it was like, maybe we should get some hours. So we just kept kind of growing it, and people were like, this is a terrible location. I'm like, I know, but you keep finding me. And so just through happenstance, we were able to procure the location there on Points, and you know, it took a little bit for us to get everything going, and then the little engine that could is now in full steam ahead. And Andy's from here, he's going to go make a beef run because we're having to stock up you know, our limited storage space in a historic building, which we love dearly because we're both love of history. So we're making multiple trips of those a week. So it's been well received by the community, and we're really happy to be able to fill that void that we found of being able to just go purchase local beef somewhere. Because unless you knew a farmer, or maybe you just like pick up a little bit here, but a constant place where you can walk in, we have the inventory, and we're able to feed our community from our farm and ranch. And then the flower shop, I guess I can speak to that as well. We're going to celebrate 5 years this November. And that also started out on the farm. We took an old tractor shed and redid it. Grandpa still would like to use that tractor shed now that it's air conditioned, and you know, you can't see through the building anymore. And so we built that for, you know, to fill a void of just kind of specializing in those weddings and events. And have now we're able to purchase the building last year, and our full retail and offering more to the community on that, and working with local flower farms when we can too, to support them. But that also was started out in out on the farm. So
Yeah, so we got big plans for some future expansions, and
yeah, coming soon.
yeah, coming soon, and we're excited to be able to share, I guess, some additional offerings with the community and continue to support such a great thing we got going on here. So
Yeah.
appreciate the honor.
Thank you for the recognition.
Thank you.
It was very sweet.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner Rich Varga, Raleigh County Clerk, here to speak on the upcoming August 4th primary election. Advanced voting hours are July 15th through the 31st, Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then also Friday noon, Friday 7:30 to noon, and then Saturday, August 1, 8 a.m. to noon. And then by state law, we have to close the Monday prior to the election, August 3rd. So hours are 7:30 to noon. There is a rather untimely situation in the courts right now with the delivery of ballots by mail. So we've gotten multiple reports on what we should tell the public. Last time I said, you know, the judge had said that the Kansas law he did not feel was lawful, and that we would have to continue receiving them until the Friday after the election. Since then, we've been instructed by the state to encourage everyone to get their ballots in by the state law. Current Kansas state law is that it has to be in by 7 p.m. on election day. The Kansas Supreme Court, they are hoping, will be reviewing this as we speak. In between now and the time of the election, we do take our orders directly from the Secretary of State on how these things are to be handled. So we're encouraging anyone that has a mail ballot election to not procrastinate. Get that in as soon as possible if you want to be sure it counts. Current state law still does state that the mail ballots have to be in by the close of the polls on election day, which is August 4th. Regarding that election, there is a constitutional amendment on there. I think a lot of people may be surprised about. So go out there, pull up your sample ballots on the Raleigh County website, read through that. It is very lengthy. That's one thing we do not want to jeopardize the efficiency of the election process at the polling places or during advanced voting. So go out there, you can pull up your voting location, advanced voting location, and also pull up your sample ballot to not be surprised with the various races that are on your ballot. Any questions? Yep, thank you. Next, you have the Bob Isaac Show for a while.
Yeah.
Thanks. Let's see. Okay, so.
There was and one of those clicks, you had a menu over there on the left and it had all the stuff on it. So I don't know where that went.
Yeah, it's really wild how this looks, but as long as it works, right? Okay. Let's go on. Mr. Sutton. Okay. Morning, commissioners. Bob Isaac, Riley County Planning. Jeremy Sutton has made application with Riley County Planning and Development, requesting approval to replat lots 9, 10, and 11 of Block F, White Canyon subdivision together into a single lot. There we go. The subject site is generally located approximately 580 feet north of the intersection of Baldwin Park Road and Lakeshore Lane on the east side of Lakeshore Lane, all in Sherman Township. The subject property includes lots 9, 10, 11, Block F of White Canyon subdivision platted in April 1964. In August of 1965, a building permit was issued for the home currently occupying Lot 9. Lots 10 and 11 were never developed. The applicant wishes to combine the aforementioned lots in order to construct an accessory structure, all on the same lot as the principal structure. The subject property is currently zoned AG Agricultural District. I'm not sure why this development was not rezoned to single-family residential at the time it was platted, or at least during the 1974 zoning reconversion process. Perhaps many of the lots were just too small to meet the smallest minimum area requirement of a residential zoning district. Nonetheless, there are no variances, special uses, or conditional uses are associated with the site. Additionally, there is no request or requirement to rezone the property. County Fire District Number 1 will serve the site. The nearest county fire station is the Randolph Fire Station, which is located at 111 South Front Street in Randolph. The subject site is not located within 5 road miles of a fire station. That's just outside. The eastern 80 to 85 feet of the subject property is located within the 1% annual chance flood, as indicated by the red hatch pattern on the map. The western edge of which follows the Corps of Engineers 1140 elevation perpetual flowage easement line. This is the final plat of the property, showing the internal property lines, a 10-foot building setback line and utility easements being vacated. This plat also shows the addition of a new 8-foot utility easement being added along Lakeshore Lane to accommodate existing utilities. Just a couple pictures of the site. This is looking east across the existing lot 9, showing the cabin and driveway into the property. It's kind of turning to my right and looking southeast. The driveway is on the left and Lakeshore Lane is on the right. You can see the drop in elevation just in that one location there. And here is the clearing of existing lots in 10, where the applicant wishes to eventually locate his new garage.
On July 13th, the Riley County Planning Board heard the request and approved the final plat of Sutton Estates Edition, as it was determined that it met the minimum requirements of the Raleigh County Land Development Regulations and Sanitary Code. Staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners acknowledge the approved final plat of Sutton Estates Edition, as it was determined that it meets the minimum requirements of the Raleigh County Land Development Regulations and Sanitary Code. Fairly straightforward, just a combination of these three lots. That's all there is here. If you have any questions, that concludes my presentation of this one. I'm glad to answer any questions you have. These.
Not changing the zoning though,
No.
so it'll be ag zone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, if he was going the other way, it might trigger, if he was dividing the lots.
Well,
Yeah, that would trigger a rezoning, but when you're just adding them together, it's.
oh, okay. Yeah, looking at one map, so there's only one that's actually residential.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Okay.
I know,
Oh, we did it that way, because it's not agriculture.
yeah, back in 1974, I mean, I believe in Sherman Township, they had county zoning in 1958. That's how far back it went, and it just kind of went up the east side of Riley County, and then in 1974, the west side, all the townships became under county zoning. But it's like Keats. Most of Keats is zoned ag, and it's not because there are a bunch of farms. It's just simply because the lots were too small that really fit in anything that was being offered at the time.
No.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have any issues with it.
Everything. Why, which one are we on? Approve resolution 07-27-26. Approving the Sutton Estates Edition plat and accepting the street rights of way, easement and license as shown to be dedicated on said plat.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 07-27-26. Approve the Sutton Estates Edition plat and accepting the street rights of way, easements and licenses as shown to be dedicated on said. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So please sign.
So John's on. Gotcha.
Okay, you want to do the second one?
Yeah,
Okay,
waiting for the green light.
well, it's
So-
2 minutes, but I don't know if that matters.
Yeah.
Does it matter to you? 2 minutes? Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, I can go ahead then. Representing J&M Leasing LLC, Matt Carlson has made application with Riley County Planning and Development requesting approval for a residential use designated for an extraneous farmstead for an unplatted tract of land and to plat the property into a single lot. Moving forward with that, the subject property is generally located approximately 2,000 feet east of the intersection of Tuttle Creek Boulevard and Marlette Avenue on the south side of Tuttle Creek Boulevard, all in Wildcat Township. So the subject site is an approximately 9.8 acre portion of a 46 acre parent tract. This is the parent tract. What you see in the red and the white here is outlining the area that on a section off the larger tract. And of course, the section that they're partitioning off has a house on it that was built
approximately 1979. The homestead was once home to a small ranching operation, was recently issued a building permit for a full interior remodel. The site has been zoned agricultural since 1958, as is the land to the north and west. Land to the south is zoned U, University, that's what you see in the purple there, and is owned by Kansas State University. Land to the east is zoned PUD, what you see in the mint green off to the right. And that's for a very low density single family residential development. There are no special uses, variances, or conditional uses associated with the subject property. Riley County Fire District Number 1 will continue to serve the site. The nearest county fire station is the Tuttle Creek Fire Station, located at 4120 Highway 13. The site is within 5 road miles of a fire station.
When they get the road open.
What's that?
When they get the road open.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I keep saying it's close.
I know, it's like. All right, so this is the criteria that was used for the planning board had to make a judgment call on the residential use designated. These are found in the land development regulations. And they have found that all 5 criteria have been met and approved the residential use designated. This here is the final, or excuse me, the preliminary plat, illustrating the orientation and location of the lot's boundaries, the house and accessory buildings and so on. As mentioned, the remainder of the tract will stay in agricultural use and open space and therefore be exempt from the platting requirements. The subject site directly abuts Tuttle Creek Boulevard, Highway 24, a paved 2-lane principal arterial maintained by KDOT. There are no new entrances being proposed with the request. The home is served by a septic lateral system and on-site water well. And no changes from the preliminary plat. This is the final plat. Lot 1. This is a Google Maps aerial showing the general layout of the property. The tract is large and has a mix of heavily wooded areas, water features, and open pasture. This is looking south, showing the existing access to Tuttle Creek Boulevard along the north line of the property. The home, the outbuildings, and the considerable elevation difference, the hills to the south. That sits down in a bit of a valley there. There are 2 water features, one here and one right here. You can't quite tell through this picture, but you can with this one. This is facing south. This is the entrance into the site, and the home at the end of the driveway, and the horse barn to the right. Oddly enough, this is not the house. The house is over here. This is what is a horse barn with a corral in the rear of it and a greenhouse off to the south side of it. Turning to my right is a garage. And a closer look at the horse barn. As mentioned with the corral in the rear. The corral had to be, I guess, retired because they needed to replace their lateral field. That was the only flat spot on the property that they could do it. So much for having a corral. You can't have them both. The current owner stated the building will be used for storage at this time, and as the associated corral was converted, and so maybe at some point they'll do something else with it, but at this time it's just going to be used for storage. And there is the house undergoing considerable remodeling at this time. They do have a license for short-term rental already. So on July 13th, the Riley County Planning Board heard the request. Having no concerns, the Planning Board approved the request for the residential use designator for extraneous farmstead and also approved the concurrent plat of J&M addition. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners acknowledge the approved final plat of J&M addition, accepting any easements, rights of way, or license as to be shown or dedicated on the plat. So that concludes my presentation on this one. Again, another one of those fairly straightforward. If you have any questions, I'm glad to field this for you.
Questions why you're using on your notes back here. Said you're recommending a residential use or
Designated.
agriculture district, because why isn't it being called residential area? I mean, there's houses across the street, there's a lot of houses in that area. Why wouldn't it be just a residential designation?
Yeah, it could have been rezoned. Anytime I think, even in a designated growth area, depending on the topography and size of the tract, we have to decide whether it's worth it to try to rezone it or if they have this option. This is usually the first option to go to, so the property doesn't get rezoned. Also, there's surrounding agricultural uses on this side of Tuttle Creek Boulevard that it's more of a blend. The other thing is allows you to have one house on that tract until such time is the area seems to be matured enough to further develop out. A single family residential district with a minimum lot size of 2 acres. This is a 10-acre tract. You see what I'm saying? And so in some cases, it's not quite ripe for development of higher density. Maybe not in this particular location either. Do this here. This is essentially the only place that is suitable for an entrance, even though this is abutting the highway here. It's a bit of a cliff here. And so a lot of work would have to be done here. And a gentleman who works at VG, he lives right here, and he called me about this, and he said, you know, I know this area, and I know KDOT would not approve another entrance at this location, well, at least at this time. And he was wondering about access. And I was telling him how this was going to be. So this is essentially a way to separate out the pasture ground from an existing house, and not a whole lot of change. So it's more of a blend. So you're not really promoting further development with this action.
But even if it was designated residential, it'd have to come back to divide it. If you wanted to put more than one house on, you'd have to come back to divide it up, right?
And that's when you would look at rezoning it. So this allows for that one house. That's it. It's kind of that half step into the direction of removing it from agricultural use to a non-agricultural residential situation.
What it is, they do have a rental, short-term rental.
Yeah, still do those.
Okay.
Get the license, you can still do that.
But they can only do it in the house. They can't convert the horse barn to a rental unit.
No, because that's an accessory structure.
Okay.
At this time, no, you cannot have your short-term rental in an accessory building.
Oh, okay.
Okay, with and now if it had a living unit, let's say an accessory apartment, yeah, you could, but you can't have them in both, one or the other. It's just, you can't have an STR without living quarters in an accessory building. Kind of tricky bit. It's an intermediary to say step. The thing about this is, I believe this area was included in the expansion of the designated growth area of the suburban, lakeside suburban.
That's what I thought, since it's being designated as future residential, why it isn't residential now?
It could have gone that route. It could have.
But it says that you guys recommended you do this.
We recommend going this route first, if it's attainable. And be honest, the residential use designates us 4 scenarios, so scenario based, and not everything can be done. I mean, we people have come in and said what can be done here, and the criteria just doesn't match up with their situation. So we can't even use that option, and we're forced to go with the rezone if it's even doable. So In this particular case, we had the option to go to. And so you're right, future development, they decided to split it up. It would need to be rezoned at that point.
Approve resolution 272726, approving the J and M addition plat and accepting street rights of way easement licenses as shown to be dedicated on said plat.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 072726, approving the J and M addition plat and accepting the street rights of way easements and licenses as shown to be dedicated on the said plat. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote
Aye.
please. Aye.
So next, we have Ben Spielman. He had made application with Raleigh County Planning and Development requesting approval to replat lots 201 and 227 of University Park together into a single lot. The subject site is generally located approximately 860 feet northeast of Canyon Circle on the west side of Red Bud Drive, all in Sherman Township. The subject property was originally platted as lots 201, 227 University Park in September of 1959, and later zoned residential during the 1974 zoning conversion process. The applicant wishes to combine the aforementioned lots into a single lot in order to build an accessory structure. There is not a request or a requirement to rezone the property at this time. The property is currently zoned SF2 single family residential, and there's no variances, no other variances, special uses or conditional uses associated with the site. The county fire district will continue to serve the site. The nearest county fire station is the University Park Fire Station, located at 10987 Lakeview Drive. The subject site is located within 5 road miles of a fire station with a very good ISO rating of 5, within 1,000 feet of a fire hydrant. This map was provided to show that the subject property lies entirely outside a floodway and floodway fringe. So it's not affected. And this is the final plat of the property showing the internal property line being vacated, while the existing utility easement will not be vacated, will remain. And it, for the purposes, one, it's being used. A few pics of the property for perspective. I'm standing on the corner of Red Bud Drive looking southwest. This is the home that occupies existing lot 201. The house faces east. And this pic shows the home relative to Red Bud Drive looking westerly. Looking across existing lot 201 at existing lot 227 near the tree line. And this shows the overhead power line occupying that utility easement that separates the two lots. As mentioned, the property line will be vacated, but the utility easement will remain in place. Also notice how close the property is to a fire hydrant. And finally, look at vacant lot 227. The applicant wishes to build a garage. On July 13th, the Riley County Planning Board heard the request and approved the final plat of University Park Unit 16, as it was determined that it met the minimum requirements of the Riley County Land Development Regulations and Sanitary Code. Staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners acknowledge the approved final plat of University Park Unit 16 as it's been determined that it meets the minimum requirements of Raleigh County Land Development Regulations and Sanitary Code. Again, even more straightforward than the other two. So again, that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm glad to field those for you.
I don't have.
Uh,
I move to approve resolution 07-27-26. Resolution approving the University Park Unit 6 plat and accepting street rights of way easement and license as shown to be dedicated on the plat.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 07-276, approving the University Park Unit 16 plat, accepting the street rights of way easements and licenses as shown to be dedicated on the said plat. All in favor?
Vote please sign.
And folks, we do have 3 Mylars out here on the table. This table, what here wasn't big enough to all 3 down.
Okay.
Spread them out up there. And John, I'm gonna have to catch up with you and get your signatures on it. Your signature on them, I should say.
Yeah, that's fine. Get with me Thursday morning. I hopefully will be back in the office.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Yeah. Okay.
Michael, how you doing?
Not bad, how are you, Rich?
I'm good. I'm good.
Nothing. Not bad so far. Well, Shannon decorated my door.
Did they bring you snacks? What?
I like to bring me
Oh, so. Happy birthday.
appreciate it. You like to get less exciting the older I get.
Yeah, more kids you get. Yeah, you want to think about dinner tonight or anything?
No, I'm not doing anything today. Well. I'll do one pumpkin dinner.
That's right.
See if there's mold.
Oh,
Being an adult, man.
It's a rough go.
watershed's so great.
Envious of myself when I just went. Those were the days.
Yeah, all the best ever.
Right. And okay, we're gonna go late. Nothing ever got fixed in.
You still got that sweet, sweet equity though. Yeah, that is it.
Put on my blinders and stop noticing things.
Sure, not.
Yes, but basically, if you live down by City Park, it's a 100-year-old house.
Yeah, that's where I used to live, but that house has less problems than the new
Oh, you got a new.
one. Yeah, over by Northeast Community Partnership.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
the newer house has many more problems. with
Oh.
this.
That's right.
That's your
a 100-year-old house and I was. Spending more time fixing stuff than anything else.
Yeah. But I was telling myself, after owning 2 whole houses in a row, that I've always gotta buy anything before the fix. And I held up, I abided by that. This house that was built in the.
Sure. Yep, there you go.
Thanks.
Water.
There it was.
Next.
Foundation crack.
10:20.
Look, it's 10 right now.
Power turns out, okay. I was looking at it upside down. Where it's supposed to be.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. Jacob Anson, Riley County Councilor here for administrative session. Just got a couple things I wanted to get back to you guys on. I know a couple weeks ago we discussed a little bit about the Prairie Paws Agreement, what was going on there, what it does, what it accomplishes. And so I wanted to just provide an update on that. So the agreement itself, you can basically categorize into two sections, the animal intake and then the shelter. Those are essentially the services that they provide. For the intake, we're talking about owner and surrender of domestic animals, stray animals, impoundments, and holding of dangerous dogs. Those are the services that Prairie Paws provides for us as far as the intake. So RCPD will enforce the county resolutions or any folks that are within the county. If RCPD takes custody of the animal, then they go to Prairie Paws, and that's where that work is done. And then they hold those dogs, and that's where the shelter services comes in. So with that agreement, we have it's a 5-year term, although it auto renews every year, which means we have a certain time window of 60 days prior to the expiration of the term, which is the end of the year, to let them know if we want to not renew that contract. We have that option. We also have a general 90-day termination notice as well, which we can do that as well. And just a reminder for the cost, it is currently at $37,207 for 2027, and there's a 2.5% escalation each year. And that's what the agreement is currently at. So I know you guys were asking for information on that. Just wanted to provide an update. Do you have any other questions or anything you would like me to look at with that contract?
I don't think so.
John, did you?
No, I'm good at this time. Thank you, Jacob.
All right, you're welcome. The next thing I wanted to talk about very briefly, and it was particularly one commissioner brought this up a while ago, but I figured I'd take some time to at least explain what it is and how much you guys are interested in the discussion. I guess we'll find out, but it's about public building commissions. Commissioner Foki, you had asked some time ago about what is a public building commission, what kind of maybe some of the pros and cons. And so I took some time, looked at the statutes to kind of really analyze what it is, the purpose, what kind of benefits we could get out of it. So the interesting thing about a public building commission is that it's a separate municipal entity or corporation. It operates, and the benefit of that is if you ever were to incur any debt, it's not considered the same as the county's debt profile. It's its own, right? So that's the purpose, or that's the significance of it being its own entity. And you guys can create that. We can create that either by itself as the county. You can create it in conjunction with other entities as well, public entities, such as if we did it with the city of Manhattan and the school district. I think if we were all in one building, that would make sense, right? We could all work from that. We all have representation. The other interesting parts of public building commissions is that how they service their debt is by charging governments rent. So instead of how we do this now, whereas we just handle that out of our own budget, we would, sell or convey the property to the public building commission, and then they would rent that property to us. Or if they were to buy property in the future, they would rent that property to us or any other kind of government entity or not-for-profit. So you could have somewhat of a mixed use within the building itself, so long as it's still government related, school district, city, county, it could be state, federal, and it could also be not-for-profit as well. And you could have all of them pay rental fees, which goes into the revenue stream to pay for the bonds that were taken out for the Public Building Commission. So that is a very large overview of what Public Building Commission essentially does. I think from what I took from it, the most interesting concept is the fact that your debt isn't considered. If we were to create one just for the county, any debt that the Public Building Commission would incur is its own, and it wouldn't be considered and the total picture of the county. Now, would that have, what kind of impact could that have on our ratings and things like that? Maybe that they still consider that. And I don't know if Rich knows off the top of his head if they would, but it's possible. Although that's kind of why this direct line of its own public entity exists. So an interesting concept. My professional and personal opinion is that I think it makes more sense if you guys had more of a joint buildings with other counties, other entities. I think public building commissions could make a lot of sense. I think given our current arrangement, it may not, as things are right now, at least. So I'm happy to answer any questions, thoughts you guys have on public building commissions.
So the commission, they can sell properties or buy property, do anything, and they have a pool of money. What happens if they ever say, okay, we don't want to be this anymore? Then what happens to all the properties?
How do they dissolve?
Yeah,
That would probably be discussed in the bylaws.
well,
I didn't look particularly at that part of the statute of what dissolving a public building commission would look like. Happy to defer to Rich.
If the commission really wants further information, multiple times, Mary Carson and Greg Varenberg, our public financial advisor and bond counsel, have come before the board to give them in-depth information on public building commissions. They do them all across the state, and they'd be able to answer all your questions directly, but that we've had them come at least 2 or 3 times to previous county commission boards and explain the function and purpose of public building commission, because they do them all across the state. And that's what I would recommend if you really want that, rather than us misstating something.
I'll let you know if I am unsure about something, but I can also answer some questions.
Majority of the time, they are like Geary County, when they did theirs, they went to the bond issue twice because they were in desperate need of a jail, and they were in desperate need of a jail. Theirs was overfull, antiquated, not functioning. Didn't pass, so they did a public building commission because they needed it. When people are voting on a bond issue, they're really not voting on the project. They think they're voting on the financing of it. And so the public building commission gives you a different method to finance it, is all it's doing. And typically public building commissions, if it's a county, they generally appoint themselves as the public.
That was
As
typically,
yeah.
who is,
And if it's a school
You
board
can-
or if the city, they generally appoint themselves.
and then
Generally,
what
but
You
happens
don't
when
have to.
what happens when the commissioners,
It still
Leave.
stays as the commission.
like say, if one commissioner,
Mhm.
But you would set it probably as a commission seat.
you resign them
That's the
and
county
assign a new person.
But that, I would highly recommend, if you want an in-depth study of it, we could contact Greg and Mary. They'd be glad to come and give you a presentation on it, or even via.
And I'm also happy to answer questions for you guys.
are there other people that could be appointed on the commission, or does it have to be?
Yeah. No, there's no requirement that it is a county commissioner. It's specific employees. You guys would have that ability to, if you wanted like John Ellerman, right, our public works director on that, you could absolutely do that.
So they would have an equal vote with commissioners, or how does?
Right.
it go?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, remember, it's considered a separate entity. So as far as voting powers and things of that nature, it's separate. So whether or not you're a commissioner here, or on that board, they operate in different spaces.
So they get their money from or taking over all the property that the county, how do they get their money if they want to buy another property?
Right. So that's the bond, right? Or incurring some sort of debt, and then you have the obligation of what you obligate in the county when you go to bond is you obligate the ability to tax, right? That's what they rely on. In public building commissions, they rely on the rents that they would collect, because they don't have the authority to tax. They would only have the authority to collect the rents. So that's how the money stream comes in. And it looked like I seen Salina, I can't remember if it was Saline County, if it was the city. I want to say it was Saline County did a public building commission back in 2020. So they have some recent experiences, if you know any of the folks over there.
I don't know, do we want more information on it?
Not right now.
Maybe not right now, but it's an interesting I appreciate that because I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about them.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting concept, but again, I would stress, I think it makes more sense where you have a lot of different kind of public entities in one building. It would make sense in that context.
Mhm.
On that note, I didn't have anything further to really share on the administrative session. My staff report has been relatively the same as usual. You know, I won't bore you guys with the individual details, but we're working through things as we get them. And again, nothing necessarily to share on that point. So with that, I'm happy to defer to Michael and Brittany here for our public hearing.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael Hawthorne, Assistant County Counselor, here today for our public hearing on assessments for the Peterson Ranch Benefit Districts. Mary Carson, our bond counsel, has prepared a resolution and an excerpt of minutes for Rich to sign. The total cost of the project is $390,408.37, assessed across 18 properties within the benefit district for a total of $21,689.36 each. Now today we're set for a public hearing to permit public comments, objections regarding the benefit district, and I would ask the board to open it up at this time. And as always, just make sure that everyone is afforded a uniform amount of time.
Okay, well, let's open the public hearing for the Peterson Ranch project. Public can speak. What, 3 minutes?
3 minutes. Yeah, we do that. That's our standard.
5.
However many you want.
How many do you want? Mac 5. Okay.
I'm Lynn Bleckett,
Okay.
was the developer of Peterson Ranch. And I'm in favor of passing this resolution. But at the same time, I wanted to take the opportunity to express some frustration of the process over the years. Been what I would call less than smooth. It's been the initial correspondence I had was with Shelley Woodward back 2.5 years ago, January 24. And, you know, the turnover of personnel in the counselor's department, you know, is understandable that there's not maybe going to go as smooth as possible. But, you know, when I first started talking with Shelley, we were talking about a 20-year special assessments at that time, putting on 20 years. And or the conversations, you know, as a homeowners, I'm still a lot owner as well in the subdivision, but we thought we would have some input into what the duration of the bonds would be. You know, we voted as the association at one point that we would prefer a 15-year payout as the homeowners association. You know, Shelley wasn't there too long, and then it was passed on to Brian Parker, and who is the one that drew the petition, and was signed by a majority of the lot owners at that time. Brittany has expressed that typically in the petition, it is laid out what the term of the special assessments would be, which it was not. And so, you know, that and in the policy on benefit districts, which I received at in March of 25, it does say the county commissioners have the ultimate say on that. But we were still, you know, under the understanding that we would have some say in what that term would be. So, you know, I'm just I'm not complaining too much here. I'm just maybe saying that, Mr. Hanson was not involved. He came on after the fact but perhaps there could be some revisions to this policy structure that should be included in a petition at that time, what the duration is going to be or proposed duration is going to be. So, I'm don't have anything further to say. I just wanted to express that, I think the procedure could be smoother. I mean, this isn't something that comes up very frequently, so understandable that there's maybe confusion between departments, council and clerk's office and public works. And so maybe there could be some smoothing of the process. Thank you.
Or is it, okay, go ahead.
Anyone else would like to speak first?
Well, we need to close the public hearing.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll
We're gonna close the public hearing now. We'll hear from our council.
Just to add a little bit more to what I said previously, commissioners, there is provided in the resolution, a prepayment deadline of August 28th, 2026 at noon. So that is, again, August 28th, 2026, to make sure, or to be able to pay it all off on the front end to avoid any interest down the line. As Mr. Bleckett had stated, ultimately it was the commission's call to go for a 10-year repayment period, and it is the commission's call whether to go forward with the assessments as they are. As said, I think the county staff is in agreement that we've got it all laid out and ready to make these assessments if the commission is so ready. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer those at this time.
So, reading through this, it's still a 10-year rather than 15-year.
That is correct.
That's what the board voted on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
About a
we
month
have-
ago, I want to say.
So,
Board is free to change that if it would like. It would change the actual costs and assessments and set us back by a bit. But
yeah, I'm okay with what we
Okay.
voted on before.
All right, well, I'd move to approve the resolution levying special assessments for the Peterson Ranch Road Benefit District.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution number 072726 for levying special assessments for the Peterson Ranch Road Benefit District. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Both please sign. Thanks, Michael.
thank you, commissioners.
I think we'll be more stable in the future, right?
Say again.
We're gonna be more stable. in the
That's
future.
certainly my goal. Well, as long as I can help it.
We'll be set and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I think our offices are working on like updating the procedure, because it did get a little.
Yeah.
choppy. We're trying to figure out, and we're working on whole documents, so. we
Yeah.
are in-
I think there were some that were not quite in harmony with each other, if I remember right. So, yeah.
We're going on for.
Wait for Megan, commissioners. Oh, almost a few seconds.
Just getting a head start because I always get mixed up here. What did I click?
Just click the. So they have them.
Okay,
Right there. Down.
this one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Lewis with Community Corrections. I have a couple different presentations, but we'll start with my monthly staff update. So for juvenile intake and assessment services, for the month of June, we had 21 intakes in total. 19 were released to their parent or guardian, one was a relative, and then one went to detention. You might recall that the month of May was a lot higher numbers for detention, so that was an improvement. For our youth court immediate intervention program, we had a total of 36 participants and 10 pending referrals for that program. Intensive supervision, we had 14 that were active on supervision. That included individuals in the community as well as the correctional facility, and then also courtesy supervised out of county and then out of state. For adult services, we had a total of 88 that were on intensive supervised probation, and then 3 that are in treatment, 10 in jail. Our recovery court program had 22 participants for a total of 77 since the start of the program, and 24 have graduated from Riley County, with 9 graduating from Clay County, and then 20 have been removed from the program for various reasons. Our next graduation is August 5th. And a few updates. I do have a little graph I want to show you about recovery court, but a few updates. We are currently finishing our year-end reports. We'll go over those here in a few minutes. And then our Kansas Specialty Court grant ended. We did receive reimbursement. Well, we submitted reimbursement requests in the amount of $13,911.49. We're still pending $2,915.15 for reimbursement from that grant. So that grant definitely helped us to provide services for our recovery court program. And then we also closed out our BJA grant that was due here this month. We utilized $529,124.60 of the $549,999 that was originally awarded to us. So the remaining funds that were not spent was $20,874.40. So overall, we did pretty darn good with that grant. And then also last week, the city of Manhattan did approve $30,000 in opioid settlement funds again for calendar year 27 for our recovery court program. Okay. And I wanted to share this cool little visual that our evaluator from K-State put together from the recovery court program. So during the course of that BJA grant, from February of 2022 to March of 26, we had 70 total participants and 69% graduation rate with an average age of 34 years. And then 70% were male, 9% of them were veterans. And then if you look at the drug testing, we had 6% of the graduates that in their last phase had a positive drug screen compared to 70% when they first entered the program. So that's a huge improvement. And then you'll see that the average was 446 days of sobriety by the time that they graduated. And then if you look over here, we had 9 participants or 31% that did have new arrests since they had graduated, which is 31% compared to the national average rearrest rate of 38%. And then the reduced criminal thinking did on average improve by 34%. And you'll see a little bit of other just information. We had individuals that did regain custody of their children during the time that they were in recovery court, and then also became leaders in different things like NA, members of Be Able, speaking on behalf of Be Able and helping to get people connected to services. And then there's a quote that we included there that someone had given us at the time of their graduation. And it said, "Thank you for giving me the chance to be a father, a brother, a son, and a person again." So just some information about that program. So that is all for our staff update. You have any questions about that? Anyone? Okay. The next thing that I'm here to present is our juvenile services year-end report. So as the board is aware, each year we set goals and we have some things that we need to meet for Kansas Department of Corrections. And then we report out what our outcomes are and how we've done with our services for the year. So for juvenile services, we successfully closed out 18 cases, 20 cases total were closed. So that's a 90% success rate. And then 7 out of 20 or 35% were closed successfully with an early termination. So they had met all of their requirements earlier than planned, and the court closed them successfully. They demonstrated sustained compliance and significant progress towards the recovery and supervision goals during that time. And then the 2 cases that were not closed successfully were closed by the court. So the court made the decision to close those cases. So that was out of our hands. And then in addition with juvenile services, and I'll repeat this again with adult services, we completed that supervisor's briefcase, the first 8 modules, and I've talked to you guys about that. It's an evidence-based program that is designed to be a refresher for staff. So that way they're out there, they're working with their clients and making sure that they're using evidence-based services. So we've done the first 8 modules. We do that once a month with staff during our staff meeting. There are 18 modules total, so we'll be working on that for quite a while. And then in addition, we completed or administered 62 cognitive behavioral tools with our juvenile services individuals and completed 32 violation level reports in addition. So whenever they when they have a violation, we respond to that by completing a cognitive behavioral tool with them. And then some of the challenges that we've faced with both adult and juvenile is we do have some staffing transitions, as you're aware. We had an individual we hired new in Clay County, and then we had a staff member leave here in Riley County. So that individual decided to transition over here. So now we've recently hired for Clay County again, and then also our supervisor retired. So those are some of the challenges that we'll report out to the Kansas Department of Corrections. So that is all for juvenile services. We did get our outcomes approved by our JCAP board on Thursday, July 23rd. So I am here today to ask for your approval for our year-end outcomes to present to KDOC.
I'd move to approve fiscal year 26 KDFC Juvenile Services year-end report.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the year 26 KDOC Juvenile Services year-end report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
You want my email in here too. RileyCounty.com. Excellent.
A lot of writing.
I don't know my email address. I just
Okay, my next presentation is similar to the last, except this one is going to be for adult services, and it's our year-end report. And so for adult services, similar to what I just indicated, we completed the first 8 modules of the supervisor's briefcase program, and that's the evidence-based services refresher for staff. And then in addition to that, we continue to provide cognitive behavioral tools with our clients. 24 clients completed the cognitive education program that we provide in-house with our care coordinator. And out of those 24, 10 of them were women, 14 were men, 19 out of 24 or 79% that completed successfully. Of those that did not complete successfully, there were various reasons. If they are recommended for what's called a CBI class through Pawnee Mental Health, that takes precedence over our class. So we remove them from our class and then they transition into their actual recommended treatment through Pawnee Mental Health. So that was some of the reason. And then in addition, they're removed if they transition into recovery court, because recovery court has kind of a different path within the treatment services that they recommend. So those were some of the reasons, as well as moving out of county. And then we did have one individual that absconded. So we did see some improvement of the criminal thinking scores, both current and historical, for women. So current criminal thinking scores improved by 10.2 points on the PICS assessment, and then 10.5 points for women on historical criminal thinking scores. Men's improved by 8.8 points, with historical criminal thinking scores improving by 3.2 points. So in addition to that, we had 10 different community resources come in and present to us on the services they provide in the community that could benefit our clients, but also our staff as well, to connect clients with different things that they need to help remove barriers. So that was one of the goals that we had, was to basically refresh our information and our knowledge of what's out there so that we are connecting clients appropriately to what they need. So we did have that. Of the 2 months that we didn't have presentations, we took advantage of, we had Corey Meyer with IT come and present to us so that he could talk about some of the issues that the county is having and that we're finding with the cyber world and everything. And those are things that'll benefit our staff, but also our clients that go and they use devices and different things. So we did have that presentation. And then we spent one of our times that we had a cancellation with the presenter, just focusing on going over our goals and reminding staff of what we're working towards. So that was all for our adult services year-end report. And I would ask for your approval on that. We did get it approved by JCAB on July 23rd as well. Okay.
I move to approve fiscal year 26 KDOC Adult Services year-end report.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the for year 26 KDOC Adult Services year-end report. All in favor?
Chair, please sign.
Okay, the last thing that I am here to present is the grant agreement from the City of Manhattan to utilize opioid settlement funds for the Recovery Court program. They approved last week for $30,000 again. That's the same amount that was approved last year to be used for our Recovery Court program, specifically towards the cost of personnel for our ISO 1. So as I indicated earlier, our BJ grant has ended. As well as we did have that specialty court funding to help support the Recovery Court program. So we're still seeking the funds, but this is a start. So I would ask for your approval with this grant agreement. I did run it past Mr. Hanson and he approved and didn't have any concerns or issues. Do you have any questions about that?
I don't have any.
No, I'm good. Move to approve the 2027 grant agreement with the City of Manhattan.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2027 grant agreement with the City of Manhattan. All in favor?
Chair, please sign.
Thank you. Have a good week.
You too.
Ready for Shiloh? Just can't get enough attention, can you?
I could say something, but I won't. Good morning, Commissioner Shiloh Hager, Riley County Treasurer. As you can see, I have had 2 resignations in the last month, which is causing a definite backlog in our staff. I know last week we had 1 on vacation, 1 called in sick, and then the 2 short. So we were 4 off of the counter last week. So I'm here today to request to go forward with trying to fill these 2 customer service rep 1 positions. They are currently budgeted in the 26 budgets, so there's no impact to budgetarily. It'll just really help us get our staffing levels back up and hopefully get us back into where we're not having such longer wait times and get the customers in and out and serve them in the way that they are used to being served. I can answer any questions you might have.
No, Go them up tomorrow.
All right, send them away.
Well, I'd move to approve staff begin recruitment process to fill both vacant customer service representative positions.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve staff begin recruitment process to fill both vacant customer service representatives. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Votes please sign.
All right, thank you very much, Commissioners.
Okay, David.
Now, I'll just use stand there for just for the quote. Hungry. Can't think.
You got 2 minutes to stand there, though.
That's fine. I'll stand here all day.
The interim vote for it. Norman said we studying machines.
We do too, downstairs by the clinic.
Right, I'm sending it to your health department staff.
Great.
Important.
Is it?
This
Is it
matters.
exciting?
Them the
It is.
I guess.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, with the health department, you only get healthy options.
I'm good with that.
That's
I
good.
don't think there's anything healthy in the
That's 'cause
options.
The
that-
M&Ms are still in Shiloh's office.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Michelle or Elizabeth have offices in that building, don't have, I mean, Elizabeth has some little protein bars that are healthy. But there's, or apples or something, but there's no potato chips or anything like that. I have to go to EMS to get those. What's that? Yeah, but those are healthy-ish. Cause they have fruit in them, along with sugar.
Like the healthy options you have on your desk.
Correct. But, Michelle needs to have a drawer with the unhealthy options. You need to share that or your rent goes up.
Now we know.
Absolutely.
Take it long to go to his head, doesn't
Interim moving stick.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Nothing's free in this world.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Adams, Emergency Services Director. I'm here with the updated position descriptions for both the Fire Division Chief and the Deputy Chief. This is very similar to what we did a few weeks ago with the EMS side of Emergency Services with Josh Gehring and Alex Potzman. So these position descriptions reflect the updated role and responsibilities of the team in the new consolidated emergency services. So the position descriptions were put together by the staff with input from myself. And then obviously they went to Elizabeth for cleanup and clarification and making sure we're doing things the correct way. And a lot of back and forth discussion with all of us, what do they mean by this or that? So,
it came together really pretty well. Just there was some, again, if you remember when she talked about us doing this with Josh and Alex, we kind of went outside the norm, if you will, with our division chiefs and a lot of crossover in the work that they do. They all have certain essential functions, but then they also, a lot of their secondary functions, they kind of do that together. So it's more on the fire side, just like on the EMS side, it's more of a team approach within our leadership structure instead of just the hierarchy. Well, you have these to do. I'm not allowed to venture into that lane, if you will, where they do a lot of crossover, a lot of discussion, so that even if one of them's gone, like right now, Jake is gone. He's, I believe, on vacation, but Doug understands what his role would be and kind of where he's at with these things so that we can continue to operate even if somebody's gone. Last week, Josh was out of the office. Alex had a very good handle on what Josh was working on. And so it worked really well. Josh didn't come back to a huge backlog of questions that needed to be answered. And he stayed off his email like he's supposed to. But Alex was able to step in and handle those. So, but as you see, the central functions like in this, so Doug, who is the division chief and also the fire chief, he will be designated as the fire chief for Riley County, Kansas, starting August 1st. So they've got, like I said, they have their essential functions, they have their secondary functions. You know, if we get into secondary, they assist with me, they assist the division chief, all these. That's where we have that cross collaboration. So position requirements, some of these we updated when we consolidated, made this decision. Firefighter 1, Fire Officer 1 certifications, fire investigator certification, you know, wildfire coordinating group certification. You know, these are all put back in. Some of them were in their previous job descriptions, some were not, but they're also contingent on when these classes are available. So some of these classes aren't going to be available for a little while. That's why you see that sentence in there about depending on program availability. So they're working hard. They've gotten a lot of this accomplished already, but you know, I think the fire investigation certification is one that's on pause. And that's on pause at the state level. So there's nothing we can do about that. Once it's reopened and redone, then they'll finish that. So this is the position action form for both Doug. This one is for Doug as the division chief and the fire chief. And then the deputy chief, his job description is in here as well. Very similar. You know, like I said, that's HR's realm is we come together, we all agree. You know, HR agrees with it, and then they put it into the appropriate format. So, do you have any questions about any of this, commissioners? And then here's the position action form for Doug or for Jake as well.
Do you have any questions? Okay, John, do you have any questions?
I do not. It's pretty standard. I'm just going through the processes.
I'd move to approve the updated position descriptions as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the updated position descriptions as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Let's see, since we have the budget work session postponed, that's the end of our business. Unless there's something else. Okay.
Adjourn after the.
Just adjourn now, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm
Mhm,
gonna say it's
yep.
after.
Move to adjourn after.
Move to adjourn after the intergovernmental luncheon.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the Riley County Commission meeting of July 27th after the intergovernmental luncheon. All in favor?
Enjoy the lunch.
Wait.
Assignment.